Opinions and ideas expressed in the following Moraine Valley Broadcast Channel recording are those of its creators and do not represent the views of Moraine Valley Community College.
To start this off, I'd like to bring up a quote by President Barack Obama, in which he once said, "What makes someone American isn't just blood or birth, but allegiance to our founding principles and faith in the idea that anyone from anywhere can write the next chapter of our story." I bring this up because I feel that it is relevant to what we will be talking about, which is the idea about the immigration in America. This comment by Obama conveys that any race or ethnicity has the ability to contribute to America's next step towards success. Likewise, the research of Victor, Nick, and I also shows that there is a strong impact from immigration, suggesting that immigration is what potentially allowed America to succeed in the first place. For example, think about today. Everywhere we walk, diversity can be seen, which already conveys how powerful of a role that immigration has. Before we go into our research and discussion, I'd like to also mention some background information and the roots of immigration to America. First, the discovery of America is considered one of the most important events, and it all began with a person from Europe named Christopher Columbus. Slowly after discovering it, different types of Europeans followed his trail. Soon, the land was inhabited by several groups such as the Spanish, Portuguese, and English. This information was all obtained from a source called Study History Center. We all came to give a discussion about how the Hamilton musical relates to this big topic of immigration. There's evidence from the lyrics from the Hamilton musical that potentially convey the idea that immigrants benefit America. We will each offer our perspectives, whether Lin-Manuel Miranda, the writer of the Hamilton musical, is correct in the way that he conveys that immigrants created America. So for the discussion, our research question is Miranda correct in saying that immigration is what truly established America?
My response to this question is that I feel like Miranda says it all on what his opinion is on immigration in his song Yorktown, when Lafayette says immigrants, and Lafayette with Hamilton say we get the job done. So he's basically saying that immigrants contribute hard work to the country, and considering that Hamilton is one of our founding fathers, suggests that Miranda is concluding that immigrants played a role in the founding of the United States. Another way Miranda conveys the relationship between immigrants and the United States history is in the casting of his play. So he casts African American males to play historic figures, and he casts himself to play Alexander Hamilton. By casting minorities to play historic figures, Miranda is portraying the importance that Black and Hispanic immigrants have on the progression of the United States. One example is the Labor Importation Program, aka the Bracero Program, which was aimed to gain temporary workers due to a shortage of labor during World War II. In time of economic issues, a whole bunch of immigrants from Mexico came to the United States to help the shortage, even though the wages were pretty low. Another statement from Miranda's perspective on immigration is that they are determined. The reason so many immigrants wanted in on the United States was because it was really the land of opportunity. When this program went on, the numbers of Braceros was at 107,000 in 1949. It increased to 201,000 by 1953. And then it decreased from there on as the program ended. Many of them came to take their shot at the land of opportunity, demonstrating the ambition and determination immigrants have.
Miranda is correct in saying that immigration was truly built America. This country was built by the hard work of immigrants of different nations, but I would like to talk about African American. Many of the immigrants came to America to escape religious or criminal persecution. Others to leave nations of poverty in the hope of finding greater economic opportunity in the new world. Those who could not afford the passage came as servants to those who would pay their fare and employ them on their arrival. Slaves from America were brought here in chains as servants. African Americans have contributed to this nation in different ways, such as work, culture, and science. However, they still facing serious challenges in order to be treated and respected as truly Americans.
As for me, first I found lyrics in the Hamilton musical that help convey the idea that immigration built America. One line in a song called Yorktown goes as follows: "Immigrants, we get the job done." Here's an example where power and success is associated with immigrants. The ability to get many things done cannot be done without a degree of power. An additional example can be seen in the My Shot song, in which Miranda writes, "Hey yo, I'm just like my country, I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot." Although the character Alexander Hamilton is speaking these lines, I feel that a perspective of an immigrant is actually being conveyed. This is because the character Alexander Hamilton does not specify what country he is just like. He just says, "I'm just like my country." Also, he conveys a state of being young, scrappy, and hungry, which I feel can be contributed to a struggle that immigrants commonly face when entering new countries. In later lines, he also talks about various types of ways on how he will succeed, such as going to a king's college. So, to review, he starts off as this person as young, scrappy, and hungry, but then a shift occurs in which he has the potential to succeed. Ultimately, from this, I get the idea that power and growth is given to immigrants. Now, I'm going to connect my research with Miranda's potential argument on how immigration built America. According to the History Study Center, which is where I found all of my research sources, quote, "All Americans except for Native Americans are immigrants," unquote. Adding to that, these several types of people, quote, "migrated to the United States," unquote, in order to seek refuge and prosperity. Technically speaking, doesn't that already make almost everyone in the U.S. history those that contributed to the creation of America? Doesn't that make them immigrants? Think about it this way. The people from the past that would eventually establish the 13 colonies, the predecessor of what America is today, and then after that, progressively succeed the 13 colonies to what America is today. So to re-summarize this part, people from Europe eventually established a new place in the form of the 13 colonies, which shows that a small group of immigrants ideally started the creation of America, the prosperous land that exists today. This information about the 13 colonies was also found on the History Study Center. Ultimately, from my perspective, I would have to say that Miranda is correct in his argument from the basis of my research, which conveys that technically a heavy amount of contribution to America came from Europeans. To add to this, Victor and Nick also provided evidence as to how Hispanics, Latinos, and Africans also contributed to the growth of America as it is today. Victor and I can each say that Miranda's argument about immigration being the reason for the existence of America, which was conveyed in the lyrics of the Yorktown and My Shot songs, is correct due to our extensive research of immigration itself. As a final review about our perspectives, Nick helps support Miranda's argument with his research about immigration from Africans. Victor helps support his argument through his research about immigration from Latinos and Hispanics. And I help support his argument through my research about immigration from Europe. Using this research, especially when combining them as a whole, we can say that America was ultimately created by immigration. Lastly, I will refer back to the quote by Barack Obama in which he says, "What makes someone American isn't just blood or birth, but allegiance to our founding principles and faith in the idea that anyone from anywhere can write the next chapter of our story." To finalize this podcast, we all have one final question for the audience, and it connects to the quote by Obama. Does this now mean that almost every positive impact that has ever occurred in America resulted due to the actions of an immigrant?